Hey everybody, it's Adam from The Lap, and today I'm going to give you my 5 top tips for traveling solo right after this. I am here on the shores of Lake Patty on some wonderful crown land, an amazing campsite. I've got my fire going so that I can cook dinner in a little bit. But I wanted to take a little bit of time and just talk about, I guess, the top 5 things that I have really noticed over the last 8 or 9 weeks that I've been traveling solo, and the things that have really been important to me. It was a comment on a Facebook post that I put up the other day that got me to thinking about sort of passing along some tips on making this kind of travel easier, whether it's by car, by bike. It really doesn't matter if you're backpacking, whatever. But my cousin Stephen, he commented and said that he hoped one day that he would be courageous enough to do this kind of travel. And I actually almost sort of flippantly said, I don't know how courageous this is, Steve, but you know, it's been very sort of eye-opening and a lot of moments for introspection for me. And he came back and said, no, it's courageous. And so I guess that really did get me thinking. I guess about that, because I really don't see this as courageous. Yes, it's a little bit out of the ordinary, but it's just been so incredibly rewarding that I don't see myself as having to do a lot of gut check moments. But I think that is because I've entered this, I've started this, I've continued this in kind of the adventure mindset where you know I've done everything possible to set myself up to be successful, and so I'm going to share those 5 tips with you now. Tip number 1: have 2 or 3 people in your life that you can be in very regular contact with. It's very important for me to have sort of a touchstone, a daily or semi-daily person to talk to, just to either let them know that I'm okay, where I am, what I've been doing, you know, check on things back home, that kind of things. So for me, it's my mom and dad for sure. I have a GPS tracker that they can go online at any time and see where I am. My girlfriend Jeanette, who you know, it's been really interesting because it's a relatively new relationship. I think we're coming up on 2.5, maybe 3 months. I'm sure I should know that better, but my sense of time is a little bit wonky right now. But basically, Jeanette and I, you know, started a relationship shortly before I left on this trip. And she's been incredibly supportive, and we talk pretty much every day. And so, Jeanette, thank you for the support and for the understanding of why these kinds of trips are so important to me. And obviously Rick. Rick and I touch base not quite as often, you know, between work schedule and my daily schedule. Rick works nights, so it's not as easy, but we're in contact, you know, a couple, 3 times a week. Tip number 2: be flexible. And I don't mean, yoga or, being able to do the splits. I mean, be mentally flexible, let your schedule be flexible, even if it's just going for a weekend or a week or a few months. It's incredibly important to be flexible with your schedule because things change. Things crop up and that you don't expect, and if if your mindset is that everything has to go perfect, everything has to go right, you're setting yourself up for failure. This is some challenging travel, and things will go wrong. There will be bad weather. There will be uh, things that go wrong with a motorcycle. There will be tent poles that break. There will be campsites that you're hoping to get and they're already occupied. You need to be able to be very flexible, and just roll with the punches. And there's been so many times on this trip that that I thought I was going to do one thing, and then I ended up doing something else. A good example is actually my journey down to Point Pelee. Originally, that was going to happen within the first few days of this trip. In hindsight, I'm very glad that it didn't, because I don't think I would have appreciated, I guess, the success of getting to Point Pelee as much as I did, by doing it a little bit later on in the trip. I don't know about you, but when I'm living my day-to-day life, when I'm not on the road, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There are challenges that come up all the time. So why would it be any different when you're on the road? My third tip for traveling solo is to embrace challenges and embrace adversity. Things are going to happen. I've had all kinds of things on this trip happen, whether it was, dropping the bike in a friggin' mud puddle, or if it was needing to get a new back tire, or losing a speedometer cable, or having to rewire pieces of the motorcycle. A couple of days ago, I actually had a little electrical fire on the bike, and I had to, quickly take that apart and find out what shorted out and why that happened. And so things are going to happen. There are going to be challenges, and I guess my mindset has been that those things, they are going to happen, and I'm going to have to deal with them when they happen. I can't plan for them. I wish I could, but when they do happen, it's not the end of the world. And being able to have that mindset that it's not critical, and no obstacle is impossible to overcome. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Embrace adversity, embrace challenges, accept that they're going to happen, and don't get too worked up about it when it does. Just make it part of the adventure. My fourth tip for traveling solo is make sure that you set aside time to talk to people. It's very easy to kind of, lock yourself into yourself and inside your helmet and say, you know what, I'm on my adventure and I'm going to go do this. But realistically, if you're traveling on motorcycle, it's obvious that you're long term. Not a lot of motorcycles show up packed the way my KLR is, and people want to talk about it. People are very interested, whether it's at a grocery store, whether it's at a gas station, a coffee shop, wherever. If you stop, people want to talk. And for the first little bit, I have to be honest, I found it a little bit annoying because I had a goal that day. I wanted to get back on the road and get to where I was going and set up camp. But as time went on, I really started to embrace it because I realized how very interested people are, and realized that I am living a dream. I am doing things that a lot of people just either won't make the time for or won't be able to make the time for. And so it really made me appreciate, I guess, the uniqueness of this kind of travel. And so now if somebody wants to talk, I shut the bike off, I get off the motorcycle, and I am more than happy to talk to them, as long as they're 6 feet away from me. This is still COVID. Tip number 5 for traveling solo, and I think it's probably the most important one. Find something every single day to smile about. And maybe that's just a good life tip, but it's easy on, you know, a day where it's just raining. You know, you've been on the bike, and I don't care how good your rain gear is, it sucks. You know, doing 3 or 4 hours on the bike in the rain, you do end up wet. You do, and then, you know, when you get to camp, you're going to be having to set up. You know, if it's going to rain at night, it just is what it is. But find something every day to smile about. This morning, I was having my coffee, and a chipmunk came up and basically just sat down beside me, and hung out with me for a little bit. I found some sunflower seeds. He was more than happy to hang around. But just every day, find something to smile about, something to make you realize, to make you pause, to make you absolutely pause and appreciate the moment and the opportunity that you have. So I think that goes beyond just travel, just good life advice. In my next video, I'm going to make a very big announcement that I'm very excited about, as to sort of the future of how this is going to be, because if one thing that this trip has taught me is that I really do want to spend as many years as I possibly can exploring this world on the back of a motorcycle, and so I've been working on some plans, working on some ideas that will help facilitate that and make that happen. So in the next week or so, I'll be sharing bits and pieces of that with you, and I'm very excited for it. If you like the videos that we're putting up, please be sure to hit subscribe, hit like, comment, share it with people that you think might be interested in the videos that we're producing. And until next time, ride safe.